Welcome back to another episode of the Fighter and the Analyst. I am your host, GK The Fight Analyst, and this here is my man, Peter Petties. What's up, bro? How's it going?
I am good. I'm good. Chilling in Corona Paradise in Maryland. So life is not bad. Been back to training. The grind's been good. Other than that, just trying to stay healthy. That's always the hardest part with training.
That's great, man. It's great to hear. Before we get this podcast going, we'd like to shout out our sponsors, Manscaped. Guys, head over to Manscaped, get some of the best male grooming products to get that junk smelling and feeling great. Use promo code TFTA20 for 20% off and free shipping. Also, head over to Our Life CBD for some of the best CBD products on the net. Use TFA 10 for 10% off your first order. With that said, oh man, what's new in the hood? What's going on, man? What is going on? What's up? What's up? Tell us what's going on.
I'm relaxing. It's been nice getting back to the grind. Been doing my jiu-jitsu pretty heavy, 5 days a week at this point, and then outside of that, haven't really been doing much striking. I've been trying to put myself in. This was always my plan once I came off injury, was to put myself in a uncomfortable situation of just really embracing grappling in jiu-jitsu. Me coming from a wrestling base and then going heavy into striking, fighting in Muay Thai over 40 times as an amateur and having some pro Muay Thai experience. My biggest thing was always to catch up to stand up. I was a wrestler in high school, and then I did 1 year of college wrestling at Division II before getting into MMA. So I will say I did not respect jiu-jitsu as much. And if there's anything, I think as an MMA fighter, it's really, you have to, when your holes are there, you have to really embrace them. Other than that, you're just going to be, if you don't, you're going to be stagnant your whole career and just lose the same way the whole way. So, right now, the way I look at it is, if I look at my PFL career and everything, at the end of the day, it came down to just holding me down and grappling, So, I'm going to attack those weaknesses, and I'm excited to really just make the gains and come back and, be choking people out, and then they'll be forced to stand with me, which will be good. So it's been good, honestly. I just didn't enjoy being back in the room at this point.
That's great, man. What belt are you in jiu-jitsu? I don't even know.
I am a blue belt. However, I am one of those undefeated blue belts. I don't think I've lost. And what I mean by that is real jiu-jitsu, not Nagas. It's so fake nowadays. Not your Grappler's Quest, but IBJJF. Where you get the real world title, where Buchecha and the jiu-jitsu guys have won. I'm a blue belt. I've been a blue belt since 2014. However, it's funny because I want to say about 2016, I stopped wearing a gi and really stopped embracing jiu-jitsu. I think that got to the point where I was getting a bunch of knockouts. And I don't need jiu-jitsu no more. I'm good enough that I'm not going to get tapped out. So it's one of those where I'm one of those blue belts who's been around for a while. I have guys who I beat in tournaments that are like, if I go there and they're black belts now, so it's one of those things where I always say, I always tell people, don't judge people by their belts at all, especially in jiu-jitsu. I have plenty of black belts who I can catch, or I remember when black belts at Lloyd's were blue belts and they were 18 and now they're black belt world champions and they were killing us. And I was like, man, and these are kids that have been training since they were like 5 years old. Like when I say Lloyd has a system, the system is proven, man. It's one of those things. It's nothing in the water in Maryland. It's just, if you stick to the system, you're going to get good.
That's true.
It's been good, man. The room's been good. It's been a lot of good energy during COVID. As we talked earlier, we got Tefon coming up in a few weeks. I know Sadiq's looking really good right now, in shape. He has something possibly on the horizon, but I'm not going to be the one to break it. Yeah. But so he has a good matchup possibly on the horizon. Outside of that, everybody's just grinding, trying to stay COVID free and get better still.
That's great, man. Nothing on the horizon yet for you, or just taking it day by day and whatever happens.
Well, first I'm fighting myself with this weight. So dropping this weight is the first thing. Outside of that, I want to say in the perfect world, I want to fight before the end of the year. But the way that things are looking, it's like just so far in between. I want to also have a perfect camp. What I mean by that is, my PFL, I fought on short notice. I've taken almost, I want to say, other than 2 fights in my career, all have been on short notice. So, my biggest thing that I want to do with the second half of my career is really just focus on a complete training camp, everything firing on all cylinders, just to have a complete me. I don't think any of my fights, whether it's PFL, regionally, I don't think anyone's really seen what I've been capable of on 12 weeks notice, because when I first came out, I was 3-0. I think I had 3 knockouts, 4-0, 4 knockouts, and I couldn't get a fight. So it was at the point where I was going 6 or 7 months between fights, just waiting, waiting for a call. So I started taking fights, on less than ideal situations. So, when I think about certain things, I'm 29 right now. It's not old in MMA years, but I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So I'm just trying to be a little bit wiser with everything. At the end of the day, I watch UFC and I'm like, how the hell is this guy in there? Or like, there's certain things. So,
Yeah, true.
I want to be wiser, go on a little streak and make a splash, and then make all of our listeners some money when I'm the underdog.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. I can't wait for that day. We're going to be cashing in like crazy.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, but now it's Contender Series now. Contender Series is back. You've been on there. Did you watch last night's fights? What were your thoughts on all that?
It's funny because every time the Contender Series comes on, I have it's better now that it's been 3 years since I've been on there, since I was on the first season. But I remember before, every Tuesday, I'd be like, man, I ain't watching Contender. And then somehow I just end up watching it. But yeah, that's exactly how last night was. And it was weird because I think this was almost the first one, other than Dustin Jacoby, where I was like, I don't know any of these guys. Like sometimes some names would pop up. I'm like, I remember that guy from this. And now it's getting to a point where I'm like, damn, who are these guys? Or maybe I'm just getting older. It's like that type of point. But no, I thought the fights delivered really well. That guy Flores can take a beating. I will say that. I was hoping. I went and I'm always looking for the dog, so I went and swung a little bit on Flores, and then eventually I was like, all right, he might be, if he keeps catching Dustin with those knees, I thought he might be able to sneak something, but no, he took a beating. I was like, shit. But I thought the card delivered. I thought it was pretty good. I'm gonna butcher his name, Euros Medic. He looked really good. But I also can't tell if it was his opponent who gassed himself out spinning so much, trying to go for the flashy. But no, I thought for 4 fights, I thought they all delivered. None of them were really boring or anything. So yeah. I do think Rivera squeaked out one there. But
that was bad. Look, I bet heavily on Rivera, and I'm just like, I should have lost that bet. I'm being completely honest with you. That was, I'm
glad.
No, I'm just saying I normally get unlucky there, so I'll take one every now and then. Yeah. But
and I'm glad Dana did at least acknowledge them. I could see something where both of those guys, the way COVID is right now, if you just stay ready, there are opportunities after. I'm kicking myself for just being, coming off injury and everything. But like right now, if you're a decent prospect, maybe even low level almost, it's just like the UFC is signing everybody. It's like, oh, you want to fight? Oh, come on. It's one of those times where you just got to take advantage of the opportunity. But no, I thought the card last night was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was good too. what were your thoughts on Derek Brunson and Edmund Shabazian? Did you even foresee that happening?
The funny part is I'm not gonna blame you either. As you texted me and you were like, "Don't tell me you're taking Brunson." I forgot what we were discussing.
Oh yeah,
And we didn't do our podcast. And in my
didn't
head,
go over it. Yeah,
no, I mean, in my head, I normally would bet on him. And the biggest thing, like even discussing it, Brunson has really only lost to the elite at 85. If you
that's
look
true.
at it, you got
Yeah,
Yoel,
that's true.
Adesanya. Who else has he lost to? Did he lose to Jacare? I believe he lost. He might have beat Jacare. I'm not sure. It was a while.
I think he got knocked out by Jacare early.
Okay, yeah. I mean, but at the end of the day, he only loses to those top 5, top 10 people. So it was like for this, when you think about it, Edmund, in retrospect, to come from Brad Tavares to Derek Brunson,
Big step up.
he was kind of following the Israel route, but you saw how big that gap is between him and Israel. Israel made Brunson look stupid, in the wrestling department, everything. I can't tell if Edmund just gassed and,
Derek was in shape.
Face.
It was weird.
He looked bad. And I'm kicking myself for not playing it because normally I would play that. You take any of these young guys and they get their first vet, like their veteran who's been in there and has been battle tested. I would always take the vet. But, last week I had one of those busy weeks where I was just training, working. Sometimes I like to take an hour or two to really look at fights. And I think had we done our podcast and did an hour or two, I would have bet. But since last week it was so busy for me, I don't like betting without a little bit of research. Yeah. And I did not pull it. And then Brunson pulled it off. And I was like, fuck.
Like my viewers, I told them Edmund Shabazian small on the KO. Unfortunately, they didn't hit. But once it got to a point at the night, he hit plus 300, and I had to pull the trigger at plus 300. It was just that sweet number that you just want to get sometimes, and I'm like, ooh, plus 300. Yeah. I have to snag this right now, and I went there and snagged it at plus 300, and it hit. But it was a great fight. In either way, I was just one fight off on my DraftKings lineup as well from cashing in big. And that was on.
And imagine if you had Brunson. Imagine if you had Brunson.
I would have walked away. I would have at least tied first place for at least a couple thousand, at least. But unfortunately, I was wrong. Edmund Shabazian got completely steamrolled. Oh well. But anyways, let's get right down into breaking down this fight card. So let's start on the preliminary card. Right now, we have a fight in the bantamweight division between Ali Al-Kiyasi, I guess, and Erwin Rivera. Right now, Rivera is a minus 175 favorite, and Kiyasi is a plus 155 underdog. Do you have a side in this fight?
I met Erwin when I was down at Sanford. He's a Sanford guy. The biggest thing I always like to note in there is I would always just try and tally how many times I've seen someone in practice, for future betting references, what I mean, stuff like that. Because that's the insider stuff that you don't normally see. And I will say he was in there working, man. He was in there for wrestling. He sometimes brought his kids, just put them on the side and went to work, went to practice. So, I thought that spoke a lot about his work ethic. I think the biggest thing that gets overlooked in MMA is work ethic. Half the time, this shit is grueling, man. And what I mean by that is even now, this is just me coming back without any striking. And we have workouts at 6 a.m. and then at 8 a.m. to 10, and it's 2 hours. And then I'm not striking right now, so I'm just chilling. And then I come back at night for another 2-hour practice. So, sometimes I think work ethic speaks volumes in this game. And I saw Erwin just putting in the work. So I think it's going to be a good fight. And I don't know much about the other bantamweight dude, honestly. I see he's fought in Brave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see he's fought in Brave. outside of that, I don't really know much about his record. I see in Brave in the Middle East, you got some toss up. I always say like it's a weird division where like you have Jose, you got Shorty out there. I think the other Shorty just signed, Sean Santella. So I think it's getting real out there, but I just feel like I don't know if the Brave has the talent pool to really test guys. So, if on just the betting, if you're trying to make money and you want to play whatever, underdog, go with Al, but I'm leaning towards Rivera in this one.
Yeah, I'm going with. I think Rivera's more battle tested too. He doesn't have the octagon jitters anymore. He came in on short notice, facing a guy that was arguably twice his size at 145 pounds. He looked good in there. I mean, he didn't look great, but I mean, granted, it's kind of hard to look great against a guy that's double your size and the wrong weight class. But he's back to his normal weight, and I got him all day here. I think he gets an easy win here. I don't see much of a problem for him. And Kiyoshi has some weird thing going where he shaved literally all the hair off his body. It's kind of weird. Like he doesn't have eyebrows either. He doesn't have hair. When I saw it, I'm like, I didn't even take notice. I didn't notice that he had no eyebrows, and then someone pointed it out. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. He has no eyebrows. I don't know. It was something weird, but yeah, I'm taking Rivera here. Minus 175. The line has come down on him. I think he was minus 200, if I'm not mistaken, not too long ago. So minus 175, starting to get playable. Didn't like him at minus 200, but minus 175, I think, is a pretty decent bet. So next up in the featherweight division, we have a fight between Yusuf Zalal and Peter Barrett. Right now, Zalal is the heaviest favorite on the card at minus 450, and the comeback on Barrett is a plus 360 underdog. Who do you got in this one?
I think I got Zalal, Yusuf. I think honestly he should be the biggest favorite. I know Peter Barrett has a very, 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 very padded record. And then even outside of that, I don't think he's fought anyone to get to this point other than the Contender Series where he won. I know he has a loss to TJ Brown. And then, like I said, anytime you have someone who comes from a Cage Warriors, I'm always big on what's your resume? Who have you fought? At that point, it's just a matter of I think he's just in the UFC because he has the record. Honestly, I don't know if he really deserves to be there. So I'm going heavy on Zalal.
Yeah, I probably have to go with him as well. I hate the line, though. The line just got a little outrageous for my taste. Minus 450 is kind of insanity. I want to see what his line is by decision because I don't feel like he's going to finish him, even though Peter Barrett's been finished on numerous occasions. But Zalal to win a decision is plus 15, plus 115. That's not bad.
Yeah.
But for him to win inside the distance, it's plus 155. Huh. Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, I'm definitely rolling with Zalal here. I just can't put my money on Peter Barrett. Just never gonna happen. What?
I'm gonna read some of these records for you so you can understand what I'm talking about. So his first fight was against a guy who was 6-12, Peter Barrett. His next fight was against a 3-9 guy. Then he fought 0-2. This guy was 7-17. And then he fought 10-12. He didn't fight anyone with a winning record until he was 6-0. And that is 3-2. And then and his most recent W. Oh no, I wouldn't say most recent, but this one between some losses, he's fought a guy who was 15-75. How does somebody become 15-75?
How are you fighting almost 90 times?
I am actually amazed by that. Like it almost looks fake. Like I'm actually very amazed by this record. I bet you everybody in the UFC has beaten this guy. Holy shit!
They call him up just to take an L and make it look good.
Hey, guess who has a W here? Kobe Covington, Gerald Marshall. Gerald Marshall. Oh, let me see.
Yo, it's littered with guys like UFC level talent. That's crazy.
You got Pat Curran. Yep, that's good old MMA for you. Oh, Jared Michaud got 2 W's against this guy.
Oh, wow.
This is hilarious. But yeah, that's MMA matchmaking for you sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, we're on Zalal here, and let's keep it moving. Next up in the featherweight division, we have a fight between Gavin Tucker and Justin Janis. Right now, Tucker is a minus 135 favorite, and the comeback on Janis is a plus 115 underdog. Who you got?
I'm going with my boy Justin Janis to cash me some more money. This is the pick that I took against Frank Camacho, if you guys were paying attention. On short notice,
good pick. Very
like
good pick.
a month ago.
Yep. Plus 250, something crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'm purely going off the fact that he won me money already. Outside of that, I was actually impressed. He went after it on short notice. You look at this one. If he looks like that on short notice, it'll be interesting to see how he looks with a full camp. Not to mention, the guy's just been active. He has a good record. He has fought some good guys. And yeah, I'm leaning towards him to keep the momentum running.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you as well. I like the dog money here. Obviously, we're a little late on the train because he got absolutely steamed, and rightfully so. He's gonna be much bigger than Tucker as well. He used to fight at 170. I think this is his first fight at 145. So he should be much stronger if Tucker wants to get it down to the mat. And we've seen over time in Tucker's fights, he tends to gas himself out when trying to grapple. And he just gets hit a lot on the feet, like a lot. And then he tends to brawl when he's getting hit. So instead of being technical, he just gets into a brawl, and then just like he did against Rick Glenn, he got into a brawl and he got absolutely outworked. And I feel the same thing's going to happen here. I'm going to go with Janis here at plus 115 in dog money. All right, next up in the middleweight division, we have a fight between Wellington Turman and Andrew Sanchez. Right now, Turman's a minus 155 favorite, and the comeback on Sanchez is a plus 135 underdog. Who do you got?
This one's kind of a tough one. I've never really been impressed with Wellington Turman. I am going to lean on this one with Sanchez. You said he's at plus money, correct?
Yeah, plus 135.
Plus 135. Oh, man. I mean, Turman did, I think he arguably beat Carl Robinson. I'm probably going to sit on this one, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not playing this either. I don't want anything to do with this fight. I'm not betting it. I'm not advising anyone to. It's a very 50-50 fight. It's just too close. We don't know if Turman really has great takedown defense. It hasn't been tested yet. And we know that Sanchez tends to fade late in fights. He doesn't have great cardio. He's not the best striker either. It's going to be a very close fight, and I want nothing to do with it. So, next up in the lightweight division, I think. Is it lightweight division?
Who we got?
Yeah, lightweight division between Nasrat Hakparast and Alex Munoz. Right now, Nasrat is minus 245 favorite, and the comeback on Munoz is a plus 205 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm going with what was Munoz on this? Because I think I'm going with the dog on this one.
Plus 205.
Oh yeah. So I got another sniff here where I am going with Munoz for the upset on the plus 205. I know he was out in Alpha Male, good wrestler. He's who did he fight on the contender? Oh, Nick Newell. I'm leaning towards him at 6-0. I don't think you got Kevin Gastelum's lookalike coming off that loss. So I'm leaning towards Munoz on that. I think it's good money, a good risk to take on any of these parlays. This could be a good Saturday if all my dogs hit.
I'm gonna have to go against you on this one. I'm pretty big on Nasrat, just from what I've saw on the tape. I think Munoz's wrestling is completely, utterly overrated. He couldn't hold down a guy with one arm. He could
Hey
not hold
man,
down a guy with one arm. All he had to do was trap the one arm that he has underneath him and just hold him there. He couldn't do that.
Give Nick Newell respect, man. That's anyone that can go into an MMA fight with one arm and win.
I give him utmost respect. He was giving it to Munoz with one arm. He was hitting him. He was coming forward. He was getting up against this collegiate wrestler. Okay, yeah. That goes to show me that Nasrat can get his ass up. He can get his ass up if he gets taken down. And Nasrat definitely gonna land.
What I would say and what I would equate it to is like Nick Newell's a tough case to really go by because you also got to think the way I look at it is he has half of a lesser arm. So he probably, if he had a full arm, he maybe shouldn't be in that weight class, technically. That's the way that I kind of equate it. But no, I would say like I completely hear what you're saying. And I think honestly, if I remember correctly, I think Munoz took that fight on short notice, if I remember correctly. And he was gassing a lot. I think he tore his ACL or something in that fight as well, if I remember correctly. But I know there was a lot of odds against him in that fight.
Yeah, but then he's going from Nick Newell and Troy Lamson to Nasrat Haqparast, a guy that's 4 or 5 UFC fights in, and Munoz only has 6 pro fights. This man has 4 UFC fights. He's got double the amount of experience. Like, it's far better competition than Munoz. Drew Dober, I know he got knocked out. Drew Dober would knock Munoz out. You got Mark Jacasey, who he beat the dog shit out of. And then I know he lost to Marcin Held, but that was on short notice. And he's a great grappler as well. And he was able to get back up. I just think small cage. If he gets up, Nasrat has this fight all day on the striking. Like, he literally has to take him down and keep him there, or he's going to get lit up on the feet. And that's what I'm pretty much going by. He's also going to be the bigger fighter as well. I think he's got 2-inch height advantage, and let me see the reach. I forgot where the hell my stats at. I think it's somewhat significant, if I'm not mistaken. I got it. Don't worry. My computer is extremely slow when I'm trying to stream at the same time. But I don't even know his reach. Never mind. God, what? I'm trying here. But I just think Nasrat just has it all day in the striking. I mean, the striking numbers are ridiculous. You're talking about a guy that's defending 74% of strikes against him. Other than that Drew Dober blip on his career, I think his striking has just looked phenomenal, especially if he's pushing forward. Munoz let Newell, push forward multiple times throughout that fight, and I don't think that's really going to bode well against a far better striker with 2 arms that can actually punch him in the face. All right, so let's keep it moving. But so next up in the welterweight division, we have a fight between Tim Means and Laureano Staropoli. Right now, Means is a +120 underdog, and Staropoli is a -140 favorite. Who do you got in this one?
I'm not too big on either one. I like Tim Means, but I do believe he's getting up there in age. It's hard to really bet on him, and I don't really know too much about Staropoli, honestly.
Yeah, I think this is a really tough fight. It's a very close fight. I would probably take the dog money on Means, UFC vet. He's gonna get in. He's gonna get in boxing range, smaller cage. He should be able to, get in boxing range and stay out of kicking range, which is where Staropoli does most of his damage. As long as he gets in range, gets in his face, I think he could probably break Staropoli, kind of like his last opponent did. What the hell is his name? That just fought Dos Santos, the Muslim Salikov. Yeah, if he could do the same thing that Muslim Salikov did, just get into boxing range and get through those kicks, I think he should be fine. But yeah, because I don't think he has this crazy power like Rodriguez does or Nico Price. So yeah, I would go Means, just dog money, but definitely not a fight that I really want to put too much stock into.
Yeah.
All right, so next up in the middleweight division, we have a fight between Joaquin Buckley and Kevin Holland. Right now, Holland is a sizable minus 450 favorite, and the comeback on Buckley is a plus 360 underdog. Who you got?
Man, I think we got another dog alert, honestly.
Really? I mean, I watched Buckley, but I'm sure you know more about him than I do. I've only watched his last fight, so let us know.
Yeah. Biggest thing I don't really know much about Buckley, but when I look up certain things, I always say it's one thing to take a short notice fight. It's another thing for it not to really be short notice. He just fought on the 31st. What was that last week almost? So he's coming from a camp. He's already in shape. Riding high. And when I looked at it, I was impressed. I really have to look at his fight against Logan Storley to really see how wise is. But it did go to decision, and Logan is a high-level wrestler, super high level. So, the fact that he didn't get finished and everything by a high-level wrestler, I think that speaks volumes. When you look at Kevin Holland, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He has submission, but he's not really like offensively like a wrestler who's going to pin you down, take you down, and submit you. I think Holland sometimes, how do I say it? I think he gets lulled to sleep a little bit, kind of like he'll be in fights and he won't realize that he's actually losing a decision or losing the fight. So I think right now for Buckley on that plus money, it doesn't hurt, to play something, even a parlay with a big favorite in him and come out nice. Or if you're feeling, good, you lay the juice on him. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Buckley on this betting wise. Do I think he's actually going to go out there and win? I don't know. But with my money and what he can possibly make me, I'm going with Buckley.
I like it. And I might go with you there. From what I've seen, the dude's juiced. He's not actually on the juice, but the dude he's a musclehead. He's got some insane power behind his punches. Mm-hmm. Insane power. I think he won his last fight by knockout in the second or third round, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. He's just very impressive. He fought high level, decent level competition as well. Logan Storley, very good wrestler. He fought in Bellator, so it's not like he's coming. And he also fought in LFA, so he fought in decent, regional promotion. So, and plus 360 price tag. I'm all for it. And Holland was supposed to fight. Who was he supposed to fight last? Oh, he's supposed to fight Trevin Giles last week.
Yeah. But that was on short notice too, though.
Yeah, exactly. So now he's taking another fight just a week later against a completely different fighter. Mm-hmm. The thing is, Giles waits for his opponent to come forward. Well, now Buckley is going to be the one coming forward, throwing hands, whereas Giles likes to counter. So this is going to be a completely different fight. So now he's got to Holland has to go through another week of game planning for another completely different fighter. So it's gonna be hard for him, especially he's gonna get hit a lot, especially in a small cage. He's gonna have to grapple, and I think he's gonna have to take this fight to the mat. And it's gonna be interesting to see if he can do it. I'll probably take the money, the plus money on the big dog here, and I'm probably gonna roll with him on at least one or two lineups in DraftKings as well once they release his line, because he's going to be 6,800, 6,900, and then I can load up on easy wins like Zalal and some others that we'll get into in a bit. But yeah, I'm going with you here on Buckley as well.
Also, I think the one thing we're forgetting also was Holland was a replacement for Tevin Giles. He wasn't in camp for that fight at all.
True.
So I think that gives a little extra incentive. He just wants to fight and get paid. as opposed to, when you think about it, Tevin Giles had a full camp. I can't remember who fell out for him, but Kevin Holland stepped in on 2 weeks' notice. So technically,
you're right. And he's up a weight class.
Yep. So just a little extra incentive to really play on the dog.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And, Buckley's cutting from some crazy amount to get to 185 because, he's a big dude. Kevin Holland's not a big dude as far as like muscle goes. So he's probably walking around he's probably not cutting too much weight. But Buckley's probably cutting a ton because he looks huge. And as long as he doesn't gas, I think he could put it on him. And it's going to be a very impressive win for his debut too. So next up in the lightweight division, we have a fight between Beneil Dariush and Scott Holtzman. Right now, Dariush is a -185 favorite, and Holtzman is a +160 underdog. Who do you got in this one?
I am huge on Beneil, man. Beneil, I think a lot of people, I don't know why people are so down on him. He just got caught by Alex. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Beneil is arguably one of the most underrated fighters, I think, in the UFC. Yes, he's had poopy performances, like Ramsey Ninja. I think he lost to
Alex
the most
Hernandez.
recent one. Hernandez, which is, and I mean, at the end of the day, what that tells me is he's just one of those guys who's going to go for it. And sometimes MMA, you just have your blooper reels, and Beneil's been on 2 blooper reels. He got caught by Ramsey and he got caught by Hernandez. At the end of the day, the guy is consistent. He's fought top competition, and honestly, he's probably in the last year and a half, 2 years, he's probably looked the best he's ever looked. I think who was his most recent fight?
Far close.
Yeah, that was good. And then, he made easy work of Frank. And then also, I didn't even realize he armbarred Drew last year. But yeah, no, the guy is a tank. I remember seeing him train in, Colorado for Gaethje's camp. So, you can tell that the guy's still been training all through COVID. It's hard to really bet against him on this. So I'm heavy on Beneil. I think this might be my biggest favorite for this weekend.
Yeah, I'm 110% with you. He's one of my biggest bets on the night, as well as Nasrat. I think he's got this all day. They're disrespecting him. I don't know. During his 4-fight win streak, he's not been a -200 favorite, and he dominated like he should have been a -350 favorite. So they're just disrespecting him on the lines. People are disrespecting him as far as betting goes. People are taking Holtzman. I have no idea why. I don't think he's a better striker. He's not the better grappler. Smaller cage means more grappling for Dariush. It's just everything is pointing in his direction. -185. I jump on it now. It's going to get over -200 within the next 48 hours or so. -185. Jump on that right now. Get on the train because it's about to leave the station and you're going to miss out on a ton of money. So get that bet in right now. All right. So next up in the women's bantamweight division, we have a fight between Yana Kunitsukawa and Julia, I'm assuming, Stoliarenko. Jeez, I hate this. Yana is a -235 favorite, and Julia is a +195 underdog. Who do you got?
Man, I think we got another dog. I am going with Julia. And this is pure off of me just looking on Tapology and looking at strength of resume. Looking at Julia, I haven't really known much about her. But if I look at her last 1, 2, 3,
she was on Tough, and I think she was in the flyweight.
Oh yeah, I see that here. Season. Yep. She won in the first round and then lost.
I think she's like a BJJ, like black belt or something along those lines.
Yeah.
What I've seen. It's
actually it's kind of tough actually now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, she hasn't fought anybody great.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, Yana's more battle tested, and Julia just failed my strength of resume think, because her last victory, which was a split decision, I think was
Ooh.
against somebody 0-1. Is that correct?
Oh wow, no way.
No,
Is
no,
it?
no. Split. No, it was a split against a 5-0. So I'll give her that.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well,
I think right now, what was the line that you said?
minus 235 for Yana. Well, granted, she was supposed to fight Caitlin Vieira.
Yeah.
Um, so Julia's taking this on about a week's and a half notice, I believe.
Okay.
So I don't
Well,
know if that's really going to make a big difference, but something to.
yeah, the way I look at it is I'm not playing this, but if I
Yeah, me
was,
neither.
I would always go dog. I don't
Dog
I
or
don't
pass.
trust
Yeah.
Yana enough to bet two something just to make 100. So
Yeah. And then I think she just recently gave birth, if I'm not mistaken. Too. Not like just gave birth, but like months ago. But yeah, this is
yeah.
definitely a fight I want no parts of. It's the only female fight on the card, and I'm definitely staying far away from it. Maybe take the over 2.5 rounds because that's probably the safest and easiest lock on that. But I'm not really
Mhm.
going too in depth with that. Next up in the middleweight division, this is going to be a good fight between Darren Stewart and Maki Patolo. Right now, Stewart's a minus 155 favorite, and the comeback on Patolo is a plus 135 underdog. You got it.
I'm big on my boy Maki. I am big on him. Maki is one of my guys. Um, we fought together on Victory in the regional scene in Nebraska. The guy's a dog. He just always comes forward. He has that Hawaiian pride where he's just trying to take one, give it back harder. At the same time, I don't think Darren Stewart's that good. It's one of those opportunity type of thing. It's very rare that you see a guy come off a loss into the UFC. And, he just lost in March and he's going in. I know he has a win against Darren Wynn, but I firmly believe this might sound wrong. And Darren, if he ever sees me, might try and punch me. But I firmly believe anyone that fights Darren, as long as you're over 5'7" and have some striking, that should be the easiest fight in your life. Or know how to use your range, because I don't know what his height is, but he should not. What's he fight at? Like heavyweight or something?
He fights at middleweight, and he's 5'6".
Yeah, there you go. So it just looks crazy. I feel like anyone at middleweight that has a jab and a cross and decent kicks should win that fight. But I don't know. I mean, this might be one of those things
He got
where,
taken down 6 times by him too.
yeah,
Six.
yeah. I mean, I'm leaning. I'm big on Maki in this fight. Honestly, I think it's a good matchup. What were the lines? Was Darren Maki the favorite?
Darren's the favorite at minus 155. It came down a lot though, a lot.
Okay.
And I missed the boat on that because I'm on Maki as well. I don't know. I see a lot of people on Stewart and like he's a lock or something. I'm like, you guys are crazy. Talking about the Darren Stewart that just lost to Fabinski, who went up a weight class of 185 to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
I tagged him by decision and plus 350. That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're talking about he doesn't throw a ton of volume. I feel like if he wins his fight, it's not going to be by knockout. He's only got 2 knockouts in his UFC career. So I think his power is just a little bit overrated from what people are seeing. They're seeing that he's just going to go in there and knock out Maki. I don't know when the last time Maki's been, knocked out. I know he has been in the past, but definitely wasn't recent. I think he's resurgent at 185. He looks completely a lot healthier than coming down to 170 from his last fight against Charles Bird. He looked great, defending takedowns, got a takedown, and just landed heavy ground and pound. It was very, very impressive, and I think things are looking up for him. And I think he's going to win this fight, and it's going to be a firefight. It's going to be a lot of fireworks. They're going to be throwing down the minute probably the bell rings. But I definitely got Maki here, and I think we're getting good money on a dog here. And it looks like there's a lot of dogs to be made this week. It looks like a lot. It's going to be a dog-friendly card, so tread lightly on all these favorites. But I know my two big favorite bets, I feel like they're going to pull through. But we'll get onto that. All right. Next up in the co-main event of the evening, we have a fight between Chris Weidman. Weidman's finally back in the octagon, and Omari Akhmadov. Right now, Weidman's a minus 135 favorite, and the comeback on Akhmadov is a plus 115 underdog. Does Chris Weidman finally get back into the win column?
Man, it's tough. I love Chris Weidman. I liked him since he came to UFC. He was probably the first ever bet that I made money on in MMA. And it was when he upset Anderson Silva. That was the first ever time that I made money in MMA, because this is when I was in that phase and I was like, man, Anderson Silva, if he gets a wrestler that can strike, he's going to be in trouble. And then Weidman came along and everybody thought I was crazy. I remember all my friends, I probably cashed out probably like $700 just off of friends. Just going down like, oh, you got 100, I bet 100 here, but that's how confident I was. So, it's hard to really feel like have your personal emotions, as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid, remembering him come in and shine. Yeah. And then to think, now I'm 29 and you've seen Chris Weidman go through it, loss after loss a little bit, and devastating loss, not even like decision loss. It's like he's getting put out, and it's hard. It really is hard to really play this without emotion. But I'm leaning towards, if I'm betting money, I'm not betting it at all. But if I'm advising people to put money on it, I'm going to advise people to go with Omari. And that's only because of layoff. And the biggest thing that I'm adding into it is the New York factor of how real has his training camp been.
He's not training. He's not training there anymore.
Where's he training at?
He's training with Wonder Boy in South Carolina.
South Carolina, okay. Even there, that kind of makes a little bit more of a dip, because it's like, if you take that, I think Chris Weidman's always been good at mixing up his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, and his striking. But if you look at him if he's training with Wonder Boy, I don't want to say what can he do, because I don't think they're only down there doing Taekwondo. But at the end of the day, it's two different styles. I know they're related, I think, by marriage or so, but it's two different styles. And at the end of the day, you're telling me he hasn't had Matt Serra helping him? He hasn't had Ray Longo, working the mitts? Yeah. Yeah. And, these are the guys that put it all together for him to be who he was. So, that even adds more for me to really lean towards Omari, because then at that point, you got a guy who's coming off injury, losses, and trying to find himself, and he's not in his camp that made him champ. It's hard to really bet money on that.
No, you're right. I just want to see him win. He's just one of those guys you like, and I want to see him finally get a win. And it sucks because you don't want to bring emotions into betting. And you have to leave emotions out. You can't be biased, or you're going to be living under a bridge. But I can't advise anyone to really bet on this fight. I think it's way too close. We have way too many question marks with Chris Weidman in his chin. You're talking about he's been knocked out numerous times. Even though Akhmadov, doesn't have a ton of knockouts, I think he's got one in his UFC career. Still got a decent enough hands to knock somebody out. I mean, he's 185 pounds. He's a bulldozer. It's gonna be a tough fight. And then Weidman's going in saying he wants to knock out Akhmadov. I'm like, oh god. That's the thing I don't want you to do. I want you to do what you're good at, and that's to wrestle. I mean, the last time he finally used his wrestling was against Gastelum, and he dominated him. But he got knocked down by Gastelum in the first round. Almost finished. And then he came back and got the rear naked choke. But we need a vintage Weidman back, and I don't know if we're ever going to see it. It kind of sucks and gets me depressed because I kind of miss it. But, I'm not going in. I'm not betting this fight. Just a total pass for me. All right, so up in the main event of the evening, we have a fight between Derek Lewis and Alexei Oleinik. Right now, Lewis is a minus 200 favorite in the comeback. Oleinik is a plus 170 underdog. Who you taking in the main event?
I'm going another dog with Alexei, man. I want to. I like Derek Lewis. I like what he's done for himself. I like the following that he's created. But taking all that out of it, I cannot lay minus 200 on Derek Lewis, especially after watching probably the last 5 fights where I'm like, literally do something. It's like you're hitting with a stick, and you can tell he just gasses and he looks for that one big blow. And I think Alexei, honestly, every time I watch his fight, I'm like, how is this 40-year-old man still in the UFC? But he just works. He eventually gets. It's going to be an ugly fight, and hopefully he doesn't catch him in that what's that arm triangle?
Is Ezekiel choke?
Yeah, there you go, Ezekiel, that he's almost perfected at this point. But outside of that, it's really hard for me to really bet with Derek Lewis after watching the last few fights.
That's crazy, man. Minus 200. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so insane. I'm leaning towards Alexei on this one too. There's a lot of money to be made, or if the favorites come through, I'll be a broke man. But
yeah, I know. I'm with you too, man. I'm with you on the dog here in Alexei Oleinik. There's no way Lewis should be a minus 200 favorite. If he's a favorite at all, maybe minus 140, minus 125. Closer to a pick'em. This has Oleinik all day written all over it. You're talking. He was taken down numerous times in his last fight against I forgot his name. Right off the top of my head, but he changed with Gustafsson out there. Yeah, Latifi. If Oleinik takes down Lewis, it's all she wrote. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. Latifi doesn't know what to do when he gets to the mat other than just lay there. But Oleinik gets you down, he's probably going to put Lewis away. And Oleinik looked in phenomenal shape. He's lost weight. He even said he wants to fight for another 7 more years, which is kind of insane. But, this guy is just he doesn't look 40 years old. He looks in incredible shape. He beat Verdum in his last fight. That was very impressive. His striking looked better than he normally does. He looks stronger, much faster, throws more combinations. He's just going to be the much busier fighter here. And we're getting him a plus money against a slow Lewis. Lewis literally needs a KO to win this fight. He needs a KO to win. And you're getting him a minus 200. Is his KO percentage going to be over 60, 70%? Hell no. No way. I'm taking Oleinik here, possibly by sub. I think we get a decent price on as well. Yeah, I'm all over the dog here. Another dog's cashing in the main event, guys. Another dog is cashing in on this main event. So yeah, that's what we got for this week's episode. Before we go, what's your best bet? Like, if you want to give out like your best bet, your best parlay that people can make money on, what would you give them?
All right, let me see. We got a lot of juicy bets that I'm probably gonna pay myself. First, I'm a big parlay guy. So a good little suggestion, I would say for a surefire moneymaker bet, I am going to go with, look at this, surefire. I'm going to lean with Zalal, and tie that up with a little bit of Benil, Darius, and let's add in Maki. Yeah, add in Maki. I think that's probably the best parlay that I can give you. If you're feeling risky, you would go. This is one of the ones that I'm probably going to play just to mess around. I think I'm going to go Rivera, Zalal. You said plus 342?
Mm-hmm. For that 3-teamer.
That's good. Yeah,
that's pretty good. I like that. That's good odds.
Yeah, I like that one. I think, and then my little risky one is Benil, Zalal, Justin Janis, Munoz, Buckley, and do I want to add Maki now?
No Maki?
And Maki. I'll add Maki to that.
That's plus 13,247.
Holy shit.
13,000.
Now that's how crazy this dog card is right now.
I'm telling you, man. Dogs are barking. This is like one of the honestly, I could say one of the cards I could say that dogs will be barking. There's going to be a lot of dogs winning this weekend. Definitely. I'm just hoping we're on the right side of the dogs, though. That's the only thing. We can only hope. But I just think these lines are completely off. They should be a lot closer. A lot of them, or even flip for that matter. But yeah, that's it for this week. But before we go, where can everybody find you on social media, my man?
All right, you guys can follow me on Twitter as well as Instagram at Why So Serious MMA, or friend request me on Facebook. Don't be weird. So,
all right, you guys know where to find me at Fight Analyst on Instagram and The Fight Analyst on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Fight Analyst on Twitter. My bad. All right. But yeah, with that said, guys, go over to thefightanalyst.com and get my package for this weekend. We have Bellator coming up on Friday. We have UFC on Saturday. We just hit our big bet last night on the Contender Series. We're up over 30 units in the last 3 events. We've been absolutely on fire. #1 handicapper on Flip Pick. We've just been absolutely smashing this. We're killing it, and we're going to keep this money going. With that said, we will see you all cashing out at the ticket window. Until next time, we are out of here. Adios.